Test automation is foundational to Agile software development and is encouraged through all phases of testing, unit through system. However, all test automation is not created equally. As the test automation pyramid suggests, we want the majority of our automation at the unit test level. Unit tests not only provide valuable information to the developer, they are also the most cost-efficient tests to develop. The middle tier of the pyramid contains component integration tests, which are still relatively efficient to develop, especially if your application has a services layer. Finally, system-level tests, typically at the UI level, are at the top of the pyramid. And they're at the top because they're the most expensive and most brittle type of automated tests. And this is the focus of today's topic. I often see two specific problems with automated system testing in Agile. First is an inverted test automation pyramid, where the majority of the automated tests are at the system and user interface level. A common cause is inadequate unit integration testing, which forces system tests to be a catch-all. Second, I find that the automated system tests decay quickly over time. To understand why this happens, let's take a look at a common approach to automating system tests in Agile teams. In the traditional approach, development teams have the responsibility for all levels of test automation. This works well for unit integration testing because these tests are more focused and executed in environments that are typically better known to and controlled by the dev teams. The theory for system testing is that the dev teams know their features the best and therefore are the best resources to create and maintain their portion of the test suite. However, automated system testing has important differences that make this approach difficult. First, the system test is likely to be executed in an environment that's different than what the developers are developing in. Second, successful system-level automation requires a consistent framework. Having a handful of different teams maintaining separate portions of the solution makes it extremely difficult to maintain consistency, especially when the tests are cross-functional. Common symptoms include keywords that are duplicated or common keywords that are changed for one purpose but are broken in the context of other tests. In practice, a better approach is to carve off the system test level automation to a separate automation team. While this approach may seem inconsistent with DevOps practices, it has been shown to be a worthwhile deviation in practice. A dedicated team will have the appropriate skills and knowledge of the entire framework to ensure the solution is maintained consistently. Of course, moving the automated system test to a separate team doesn't magically solve the problem. The automation team needs to be tightly integrated with the dev team's sprint activities to ensure that they get timely requirements for maintaining and enhancing the system-level automated test suite. This includes participation in the sprint planning and review meetings, as well as the daily stand-ups. Looking at the workflow between the teams, each sprint creates automation requirements that the automation team prioritizes into their backlog. Depending on the requirements, it's likely that not all items can be addressed in the current development sprint. In fact, it's not uncommon for the automation cycle to lag the development cycle by a full sprint. Prioritization of the automation backlog is key to ensure that everything that is available for execution at any given time is more important than everything that isn't. Even the proper workflow doesn't guarantee success. As with all test automation, it's still important to ensure that your automated test suite is executed in an environment with predictable data. Therefore, you must have environment and data components incorporated into your test automation strategy. Finally, continuous integration is a huge part of DevOps. However, I often see that the system-level testing is left out of that process. Typically, we include a system-level smoke test at a minimum with the primary objective of detecting any application changes that impacted the automated test suite, so we don't let the system-level test automatically fail the build. If we do have failures, they are investigated by the automation team, and any application issues are fed back to the dev teams through normal channels. To summarize, test automation is fundamental to successful Agile development. However, not all test automation is created equally. First, use the test automation pyramid as a guideline to ensure you're automating the right level of tests in the right proportions. Second, consider carving off system-level test automation to a separate team where you can avoid a lot of the issues that are experienced when the dev teams are responsible for all automation. Finally, the foundational rules of automation still apply even in Agile. Most importantly, make sure you're executing in an environment with predictable data.